Hey, everybody. Welcome to a live Sunday morning Cup of Ray from down here at the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill down here on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge District of St. Petersburg. I'm joined this morning by Garrett Shoemake from Shoemake Take. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, Garrett, you were out. First of all, good morning. How are you, brother?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm good, but I got to be honest. I was busy this week. I work like 72 jobs running around, so I'm watching the NFL draft. I'm tuning into Peter Blake and the sports page. But more importantly, for the pick-by-pick reactions, I was basically following you because you had a little bit of passion and emotion for some of those draft picks. Before we go up to the share session here, go ahead and start off with me. What was the biggest surprise of 2025 NFL draft for you?
The biggest one, it obviously has to be Shador Sanders falling down into the fifth round, which we'll talk about here when we get to it. But Shador Sanders, there's a lot of nuance as to why, he dropped down to the fifth round. And I have an opinion on it that most people probably aren't thinking about. Most people on social media, they're saying it's because of his character. And while there's definitely moments throughout his college career where he had character questions,
Right.
but this is not a guy like some other prospects that have actual like legal troubles going on. We actually saw a couple people, one guy actually go undrafted who was originally going to be like a second round, third round pick because of off-field issues. Shador Sanders did not have those problems.
Right.
Right. So it's a little bit different, it's a little bit nuanced, but I cannot wait to break it down and talk about it.
I'm glad you got me in because I want to go to share, but you pull back because you're so right. It's like, oh, because his father's over, and Dion's not a helicopter dad like you'd see at a football field on a Saturday or Sunday. I mean, he is. He's a proud parent, but 100% had a lot to do with the development of Shador, right? Jackson State and going out to Colorado and what they did. But
precisely
in this day and age, when we're talking about so many kids, athletes, young ones coming up, not having a mom and her dad or both parental type of influence on their lives. Here we are punishing the kid for actually having a father who's been 100% involved and probably made him a lot better.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, the thing is, people love to trash on Dion, trash on Shador. But here's the thing, talk about football families, especially with quarterbacks. A lot of people talk about the Mannings, right? You think about,
Right.
Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and then you have Arch Manning, who's going into his second year at Texas, right? He's going to be the starting quarterback for them this year. So it's like, why are we trashing Shador and trashing Dion for just being a good dad and being a good parent? Same thing with
true.
LeBron. LeBron gets the exact same flack with Bronny James, where sure, like Bronny is still like developing. He's not great right now, but he still can, and people are trying to trash him for that. But it's like, LeBron's a great dad.
Yeah.
What can you want other than
You're not going to
being
have
a
the
good parent?
character issues, but also I pose that maybe a lot of teams are worried if you're a bad team, you're trying to get better. If you're a good team, you're trying to stay good. A lot of teams are in, not where they're at. Are you rebuilding or are you reloading? And they're worried about what bringing an influence like Dion into the locker room, even because silly thing is this day and age, Garrett. And the reason why I'm having you here is because I love your passion and also the fact that you're a generation and a half behind me, if you will. Even though I'm good friends with your mom, went to school with your mom, and you actually went to the same school. But
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's like it only takes one comment. Sometimes it only takes the thing to start the degradation of a locker room. And I think a lot of NFL teams may have been worried about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Dion obviously is a big media personality, right? And also, so is Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders takes a lot from his dad, from who he is, how he operates, right? Not just as a person, but as a football player as well. They are very similar people. Like, if you break down, do some research, and kind of get to know them a little bit,
Right.
that's very much true. So it's definitely very much, the attention that it's going to get. Very similar to there was a player recently that was
I'm going to let you finish that thought on the other side, but I want to go. You made a comparison to Shador being just like his father in prime time. But yet, at the end of the day, Shiloh almost seems like the one who got the more gifts when it comes to athletics. And he's also more like his dad the way he plays DB or that secondary.
Yes, and he also signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
We're talking that. So let's go ahead. Let's do this. We're going to pop out of here, do a couple of shares, make sure we get some friends in here to get the comments going. I want to start off real quick because we have 3 comments to start with.
Yes, sir.
Bucks, Rays, Bolts says, let's go. We're going to talk Bucks, Rays, and Bolts today, aren't we?
Yes, sir. We're going to break it all down.
Tim Haynes, good friend of mine, says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Tim. I hope you're sounding okay. Christopher Cole, he's also one of the best following on my YouTube channel, Tampa Bay Ray. Go ahead and saying, hey, good morning. So we'll see you on the other side. We're going to jump out of here, do a few shares. So if you haven't already hit that share button, hit the share button. If you haven't got that second, third, maybe your first, if it's your first cup of coffee, you slept in a little, you're probably up watching this draft and watching the Rays get their 4th consecutive victory out there against those Padres out there at Petco Park. We'll see you on the other side. Thanks for joining us for a Sunday morning cup of Ray. Please share the show. And we're back. So thank you very much for that. I'm like, use all your channels because you're a much younger guy than me. You understand social media because you actually studied journalism and broadcasting journalism there at USF. Tell me a little bit about how you learned and some of the questions I asked you today as I set this up.
Yeah, so I went to college at the University of South Florida. I got a bachelor's degree in mass communications with concentration in broadcast news. So with that concentration in broadcast news, that's not just exactly what it means. Like, you're learning how to be in broadcast news. You're also learning about everything that's in the media. So not just television, you're learning about social media, online media, including, writing blogs and web articles as well. So it's learning about everything. And so I consider myself personally a media specialist. So I have experience doing, working in TV news, writing news stories, but I also have experience doing videography, photography, video editing. I'm a wizard at video editing, right? Not as much as I used to be when I was in college doing it all the time, but I enjoy it a lot. And also being on camera. My dream actually is to be a play-by-play announcer for the NFL one day.
Let's go right now. You be Troy Aikman. I'll be Joe Buck. I'm kidding.
Let's do it.
We will do it sometime, but let's talk more about this draft. Okay,
yes.
First of all, the 300-pound gorilla in the room, the Buccaneers draft, right?
Buccaneers draft. Very interesting to me because they only went 3 positions. They went wide receiver, edge rusher, and defensive back. And the thing is, you look at the Bucs roster on offense, starting with they have quarterback, they have running backs, they have offensive line. They got a good offensive line, right? They got a tight end in Cade Otton. The only true question mark is wide receiver because Mike Evans retires after 2025, presumably.
No. You think?
He's on last year of his contract.
Well,
1 year left. So,
but he's like Levante. We just extend it like Derek Brooks was for about 30 or 40 years. We extended
it by a year. Just keep on going until they decide to hang it up.
But like John Gruden makes that point on Pardon My Take the other day. He's like, he's going his 14th season. Of course, Jason Light's very first draft pick in team history as general manager back in 2014, right?
Yes.
So that's not 14. That only makes him going on his 16th year. I mean, or 12th actually, if you do it that way.
Yeah, something.
It's math, but we won't go there on a Sunday morning. But then also the second round, going with the 2 corners, going with the secondary in the back, that was the biggest need. And everybody was out there saying, Peter Blake from the Sports Web was saying, got to go edge. And they did a little bit kind of later on go edge, but they got some players in the secondary, and that's not even including a signing of a Shiloh Sanders. And we're going to see what kind of attitude he brings to that locker room.
Yeah, so we'll start with the 2 corners because thing is, at 52nd or 53rd overall, they drafted Benjamin Morrison, the corner out of Notre Dame. The thing is, this guy was going to be a first-round pick had he been healthy. And so I think I love the value they're getting him at the 50s. A lot of players in the draft, because of injuries, fell. Especially, Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. He was going to be a top 5 pick.
Yes.
Before, going into the 2024 season. And the thing is, this draft was very filled with the talent pool was very condensed, where in drafts in previous years, there's a clear cut. Okay, these guys are first-round talents. These guys are second-round talents. We had guys, going in the first round of the 20s that their talent, their ceiling, right? They're not that far apart from like prospect number 50. Like there was not that much diversity.
Jason said that, right? Jason and Todd Bowles alluded to that last week, saying you're going to find guys at the bottom of the first that you're going to find the same type of quality for the draft pick going into the second and third round, and now, or at least into the second, and that kind of proved out with some of the names with the 72 team now college playoffs games they have. We get to know these cats a little more, right? It's not just watching a Saturday but I mean, at the end of the day, there was a lot of value in those later picks. Jason Light seems to always find that value, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he's a great drafter. I mean, you think about where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been. Obviously, they've won the division 4 years in a row now. And that is for a reason. You compared to the other 4 teams in that division,
right?
They have objectively drafted the best. Simply put, straight up. There's no sugarcoating that. There's no analysis. It's just simply put, you build your football team through the draft, and the Bucs have done that the best, and they're the best team in the division. There's no much more after that to say.
Oh, you're making some friends here. But you're a Tampa Bay guy. Let's read some of these comments, my friend. I told everyone we'd read them. Actually, I hear echoes, George says. This is Abraham, my friend. So let me see if I've got the echo. That's how rude I am. I'm standing on. I'm going to go and stay with it because no one else has said anything too much. It's probably just my sexy voice for a Sunday morning. Abraham, thanks for that. I had asked him ahead of time if he'd let us know. Bucks Race Bolt says wide receiver class was good, though. Was good, too.
Yeah, so I did not expect the Bucks to draft Emeka Egbuka 19th overall. But here's the thing. You think about, Mike Evans and the potentially that he could be out after 2025. The thing is, Emeka Egbuka, he is a slot receiver, so he'll line up on the inside. He's not Mike Evans, who's a big body, who's going to line up and, catch a ball over the top of a corner's head, right? Not the same player,
right? But
very similar traits in the sense of both are very productive,
yes,
right? Both very productive, very reliable. Both are build their game off of kind of like possession catching,
yes,
right? Really just being that security blanket. But also both of them are very savvy route runners, right? You know, Jackson, or not Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's in Seattle, but
Right.
Emeka Egbuka, for someone his age, you know, someone where he's at in his career, some people said like he is kind of ahead of his years in terms of how smart he is as a football player, right?
Yes.
And that goes to him staying an extra year at Ohio State.
Right. And he's a leader.
Yes.
And that's what, and of course, the attitude or the character being such an important issue with these Bucks. It's funny, you talk about how Egbuka, did I say it?
Yeah, Emeka Egbuka.
I'm going with it. How you talk about he's not going to win the 50-50s over the top like a Mike Evans. And it goes back in Buccaneers history. Someone in my Buck oldies out there will be reminded of this. My receiver like Courtney Hawkins we used to have back in the day. Or Jacquez Green we got out of Florida. We were talking about him just the other day with Peter Blake. That was the same year after we actually drafted Riddell Anthony out of Florida. There was a time when the Bucks were more Florida Gator than Seminole, but those guys were just flashed straight down the field speedsters. But I also like the fact that they pointed out that this guy Egbuka goes out onto the field and he's looking for someone to hit. And you go and look at your Deebo Samuels. You go and look at your Amon St. Browns, these slot type receivers that run across the middle. They also love to block. They love the aggressive, and you get that with this kid.
Yeah, very willing blocker, very willing. He is just a football guy, football character. You know he loves it. He doesn't just love being on the field, right, with his teammates. He loves the process. That's the big thing. Like, you know, that's what separates good from great players is, do you love the process? Do you love working every day? Do you love getting into the film room and then getting in the practice field, working on your craft, getting better rapport with your teammates, right?
Yes.
Learning on getting rapport with Baker. That's going to be massive, and Egbuka brings all of that to that locker room and to the field.
Love it. Let me go ahead. Bucks Race Bolt says edge class was good too.
Yes, it was. I'm not as familiar with the edge rushers that the Bucks drafted. They drafted one in round 4 and round 5. The thing is, these guys are developmental players with upside.
Yes.
And the pass rush for Tampa, I mean, it's already good. I mean, they added Hassan Reddick in free agency. You have Yaya Diaby already, not to mention Chris Braswell, the former second-round pick going into his second season,
right?
And a couple other players in there too. The thing is, you know, they don't have that true like number one edge rusher, but they don't have to be, because Todd Bowles' defense is known for getting after the quarterback. He blitzes more than any other team in the NFL. The Bucks do, right? So they have a bunch of players that as a unit are much greater than the sum of their parts.
100%, brother. Hey, Bucks Race Bolts also says Tez Johnson was a steal, the wide receiver they picked up in like the 73rd round, right?
Yeah, so they picked him in the 7th round.
I'm kidding.
The thing is, Tez Johnson, I'm very mixed on Tez Johnson. Not because like I don't like him. The thing is, when his testing numbers at the combine were so bizarre to me, right? Very short guy, very undersized for the position, which you got to worry about, because you think about Tank Dell in Houston, just got a massive injury. He's also an undersized guy. And you also think about Troy Franklin out of Oregon, his college teammate who went to Denver last season, you know, paired up with Bo Nix over there.
Yeah.
You know, also dealt with injuries. But I think Tez Johnson, it's just he ran like a 4.6 40 or something like that and at the combine. But then like testing numbers showed that he ran faster. He ran like 21 miles an hour.
Game speed, right?
Right.
Which
faster than
crazy.
Right. So very similar to a guy like Xavier Restrepo who went undrafted on Miami. Very similar in that sense. But also he has good returner ability as well. They tried him at returner, I'm pretty sure, at Oregon. So, I mean, he's a guy who has upside. I don't mind taking him in the 7th round, a guy who might play bigger than his size. Like, if you can get the best out of Tez Johnson, he's going to be a pretty good football player.
Love it. Yeah, and also you got some guys currently on the team now, and you're still trying to find that solution at kick returner, which the Bucks have kind of been doing for the last couple of years. We've had some consistent characters in there, but that's the moment you get Egbuka, they're like, oh, he also returns punts, and you're like, well, also we'd like to maybe make sure he's ready to be wide receiver 3 or 2 at a given's notice if necessary.
Exactly.
Abraham says it was before. Oh, brother, thank you. I got a comment here from Miss Penny Schumach, doing great. There you go, Penny. It's great. And I'm going to say this. So I've known your mom for way too long, since high school. You went to the same high school, Hollins High, the Rebels.
Yep.
Royals.
Yeah,
we were talking about that pregame.
Yeah, now Royals.
Pre-production. Yeah. Give me one of your. I'm trying to think of a memory from Hollins High that you can bring me. And I also love the fact that even though they've changed the name and went with the Royals, I like it, kept the same blue. They kept that little thing out front that was still an ode back to the original Dixie M. Hollins, who was a school superintendent, was a very good one around here and for what he did. So even though we kind of transitioned into the new school name, we kind of kept a little bit of an ode to the history.
Yeah, for sure. And for probably a memory in high school, this is probably not going to be the greatest memory, but it's one that I will share, right? I'm older now. I'm in my 20s. I'm no longer 16, 17.
Yeah.
But as a freshman in high school, me and my buddies, I had a couple of buddies, we would shoot rubber bands at each other. Rubber bands. And there was a time where I was a freshman and we were in a class called Avid. It was like a college readiness course.
Right.
And I was like walking across the room to go grab a piece of paper or something. And my friend shot me across the room with a rubber band in my ear, and it hurt. It hurt.
Ouch. Okay, I was trying to make me laugh there.
No, but it gets better. As a junior, the thing was like I was like plotting to get him back. The thing is like if you really want me to, like I will like plot something if you give me the time and the patience to do it. So it took me a couple years. Junior year of high school, we were in a college level history class. Juniors in high school, so
Right.
not really the class to really be messing around, but I was a very work hard, play hard type of kid.
Yeah.
And so he was walking up to go give a piece of paper to the teacher, and I had a rubber band that I might have to put my mic down for a second.
Oh, go ahead.
But the rubber band, it was probably about like this thick.
Right.
So not like it's a little thin rubber band, and it stretched probably from your shoulder right here to about like,
no
right
way.
Here. So like it was huge rubber band.
Right.
And I reared it back. I was in the back of the classroom. I reared it back, launched it, hit him right in the back of the ear. He was facing.
Oh
my
my
back was to him.
gosh.
It left a welt, and he went down like in pain. And the teacher was like, "Garrett, what are you doing?" I'm like, I was on the floor laughing. It was so funny, just because like all
You
the time.
owed him. You 2 years you wait. No, actually 2.5 because you were a freshman to your junior year. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely very fun. One of my most fun moments in high school. Nothing I don't look back on and say like, yeah, that wasn't the right thing to do. Don't do that. Right? Don't get yourself in trouble.
Well, like kids, we're not out there. We're not condoning Garrett's behavior by any way, shape, or form.
No. Please
but
don't
it
do
makes
it.
for a great story. Abraham also says, I had one more browser open. Oh, it was the Echo he was getting because he had two browsers.
Yep.
That's the kind of guy. These are the kind of characters we have here in a couple right here in the Sports Web.
No, it's all good. Sometimes I have that too. Like when I'm working, I'll realize that I'm, have two windows open at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can open up, if you guys don't know this, you can open up like a separate desktop on your computer.
Well, and you can actually play 3 or 4 browsers at one time. So you've got audio crossing over each other because the way that these video cards and stuff diversify. Yeah, I work in IT, so I know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
A very little bit. What about Will Shepard, who is Mike Evans' mentor?
Will Shepard? I cannot say I'm actually familiar.
I'm trying to think of who we're talking about. Will. Oh, he's talking about already on a Bucks team, not in the draft this year. Undrafted draft rookies was good though. UN or United Nations draft rookies was good. I think that's Eric. But skip the next question. Blitzing too much is what's causing all the open areas downfield. Hence, we can't get off the field. Tim's saying with the Buccaneers defense.
No, that's actually very accurate. That's actually a really good point because the Buccaneers secondary really did struggle. Like that's an objective fact, and they do need talent. That's why they drafted 2 corners in the second and the third.
Yeah.
Right. There was no doubting that. But that is true. Like when you blitz, that leaves your corners on an island. It makes their responsibilities a lot harder.
Right.
And so when you don't have the talent, it really does make that difficult at times where you think about it, the true like best corner on the team is Jamel Dean. Right.
Yeah. No. I'm thinking, yeah. I mean, when he's not injured or if he's
right. Like sure. Like
but
in terms of ceiling, yeah, he's the best. Then you got like Zion McCollum.
Zion, I'm okay with. I mean, Zion's coming along. Also, it makes me the way we bring the free safety and Winfield down to do the blitz kind of reminds you of Rondé Barber back in the day, and that also leaves that secondary not only on an island. You're literally on an island. It feels like it's getting flooded, right? So the front pressure is so important. But isn't that part of what gives Todd Bowles defense? Because he's going to get the pressure after the quarterback. He's got to get to the pressure after the quarterback.
Right, but the thing is, it's not about how often you blitz. Like, yeah, like certain teams that blitz more often than others. That's that's a philosophy, right? That's something we got to get down. That's just something he likes to do.
Right.
But the thing with blitzing and the thing with getting after the quarterback, it's not about dialing up in the timing of your blitz. It's just getting pressure all around at all times, even with front four, like, not having to send extra guys. For example, like the Philadelphia Eagles, they just won the Super Bowl, right?
They got stronger too.
The best team in the NFL at getting after the quarterback with the front four. They did not have to blitz too much. I'm pretty sure they were one of the least blitzing teams in the NFL, yet they had one of the best defensive lines, right?
Vic Fangio is just, I don't know, the guy.
He's a wizard.
He's a wizard. He's a witch. He's a wizard or a witch or both.
Yeah, something like that. Something, some type of black magic.
I said witch with a W.
Yeah.
You said no cursing.
We're good.
With you.
Yeah, no cursing on the show.
But okay, but Bucks defense, because so many Buccaneer fans last season, and we're gonna get to the Rays, we're gonna get to the Lightning. There's so much. I don't know if we can do this in an hour or not. But do you have a problem when you see Vita Vea dropping back in the cover because Todd's running some type of a stunt that's got guys crossing up and Vita drops in? Vita's not supposed to cover him down the middle of the field, just off the line. As a defense and a football guy yourself breaking it down, do you have a problem with that, or is that because a lot of Bucks fans says we can't see that, and I'm like,
No, here's the thing. You got to appreciate what that is, because the point of dropping Vita Vea into coverage is not because he can be a coverage guy. He's not, right? He's a giant defensive tackle. He's a monster.
He's a scary monster, but yeah.
Right, but the thing is, the idea is like when you're think about it from a quarterback's perspective. Imagine like you're back there under center. You're looking at this. You are literally looking at 21 people in front of you.
Oh yeah,
21 people in front of you.
Yes.
So having that type of guy just right there in your vision, that block stuff that hurts your processing.
Not expecting to see it, right? Because all of a sudden you got a 350-pound
linebacker he's out
linebacker
here in the middle, right?
And at the same time, somebody who was supposed to be there vacated a position. Either that person's coming down the middle or coming downhill, or someone who covered that position to let that other guy come downhill. So that's part of the whole Bowles defensive philosophy.
Right. The idea is to slow down the quarterback's processing. If you can slow his game down, or maybe not slow it down, speed it up, make him process faster because, oh, yeah, if you see a guy right there, oh, yeah, you might not throw to the middle of the field.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. God, okay.
And we've seen quarterbacks throw interceptions to defensive linemen all the time. Not very often, but it happens. It's because you drop in the coverage, call it at the right time, and the quarterback just does not see it.
Why did you bring Jameis Winston into this? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I actually say that because Will Levis, quarterback, actually did that in week 4 against Miami. So
how does you go show us your cup here? Put it on camera because you're a Tampa Bay guy, obviously through and through. But how Titans? How did that come about? How are we a Tennessee Titans fan? You wear it all over your socials. What's that all about?
Yeah, so I have recently come out, like at least on my show, I am a very big Titans fan, lifelong Titans fan.
Yes.
It's just I have a lot of family from Tennessee.
Yes.
Right. So that's kind of just gravitated toward me that way naturally, as most people do. Like in that type of sports world, right? You kind of just grow up with the team, you just grow to love them more and more as you follow it.
I get it. Yes.
But yeah, that's kind of just how my fandom started. And obviously Tennessee just drafted Cam Ward first overall. So I'm personally very excited about that. But definitely got a long way to go before our team gets any better. Nowhere near where Tampa's at.
So you were like 5, 6, 7 at the kind of toward the middle or toward the end of this Aaron McNair years, weren't you?
Yes, I was drafted in 2002. So that year they had just went back. No, they did not just. Did they go back to the AFC Championship? No, they made the playoffs that year.
No, I'm just trying to remember because that's for me one of the reasons why I was a Tennessee guy. As far as respecting the team, liking them, was Aaron McNair, Eddie George, even the coach they had at the time. But they were a pretty fun team to watch, pretty wide open team. They weren't. You couldn't put a definition on them, or you couldn't put because they were going to come at you. I'm trying to remember the coach. Someone helps out in the comments here. The coach, Jeff Fisher.
Yep, Jeff Fisher, Mr. 7 and 9.
Okay, let's move on. So we covered the Titans, but anyway, what about they signed 3 undrafted free agent centers? The Buccaneers did.
Buccaneers?
I didn't hear about this.
I did not.
There's a lot of UDFAs I haven't even had a chance to research. I'm sure you haven't either.
Yeah, I've not, outside of a couple major ones, but honestly, I like it because here's the thing: center, you can play center, play guard, right? So it's probably positional versatility. Yeah. Usually with undrafted free agents, you're looking at guys that are very good athletes.
Yes.
That have upside, guys that you could develop, right? Could become something for you, but. Right. And right now, maybe they'll probably be bodies in training camp, right? Trying to find a spot on the roster.
Yes.
Maybe one of them could develop and be like a backup or something. You're always in the undrafted free agent pool. You're trying to find just depth for your team and trying to flesh out your roster, right? Just so you have good players from top to bottom.
And then, correct me on this. Maybe I'm wrong here. I'm gonna look it up while we're going live.
Sure. Take a sip of water.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it. I was gonna ask you. This is what I think Well, yeah, obviously, because also, and I remember this, I don't know why, Robert Hainsey now, he's a Jacksonville Jaguar, right? Liam Cohen pulls him up to Jacksonville now. Yes. And so Hainsey was your backup at center behind Graham. So obviously, one of them, if not, the Bucs had moved him inside from the guard position, and he played pretty darn good there for the year that Ryan Jensen was injured. Now he's in Jacksonville, so you've got to obviously get those centers and look for that depth behind a Barton Graham.
Precisely.
Graham Barton.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, Abraham says, let's see here. Denver Sports Mag, ready for takeoff. Will Shepard elevates draft stock at Colorado Pro Day? So there's Abraham's great about sharing stuff, probably from the YouTube. He's the one that actually, I don't know if you saw my post, not predicted, but he's the one I told him to pull surprise out of for the Bucs. What were they looking for in the 2025 draft? He says Shiloh Sanders, and he's pointing out the fact that the guy, and this is literally not exactly what coach said when they evaluated him, but he hits like John Lynch, but he's a ball hawk like his dad. And I mean, you put those two characters together and he's going to have to work to make this team, right? Because it's not so much a numbers game, but he was undrafted, so he's going to have to come in first day and make a mark.
Yeah, for sure. Shiloh, here's the thing. Like, he doesn't have like the same pedigree compared to like Shedeur Sanders in terms of NFL readiness. I mean, this guy is, at least from what I've heard, he's as raw as they come. So, I mean, he's going to take a lot of time to develop.
Practice squad, something like that. Yeah, but good story, but yeah.
For sure. I mean, he's a guy with physical upside that you can just develop and see if he turns into something. And thing too is with safety, that is an easier position to find later in the draft and, even undrafted compared to a quarterback like his brother. So, I mean, you can find him undrafted and develop him. That's possible.
Right.
Right. It's not, it's not out of the realm of imagination, right? It's not
not at all.
Infinite possibilities. So
character guy too. Like I said, I like the story. I think that
the
quarterback position and the narrative with Dion is and I posed this out with Shanicia, a friend of ours here, big Bucks fan, big Bucks. She's the person I go to for a lot of my Bucks news. In fact, you can't have a Baker Mayfield has an off game, or there's a team that's offensive struggling because of an injury to a key offensive lineman or whatever, and have the reporters come in the locker room and go over to Shedeur and ask him, what does your dad think about this? Not that he should be playing, but you can't have that narrative at the quarterback position. And as much as I say that Deion can't be a bad influence for a locker room, it could be a little bit a breakdown for the 53, but a guy like Shiloh working hard to make a team regardless, it's just a good story. And then also the kid's physically talented a little bit more, even though Shedeur's been playing that quarterback position and seems to have been on a man on a mission longer.
For sure. And the thing with Deion and the thing with Shiloh as well is, with Shedeur, part of the reason why he probably went into the 5th round is because of his dad. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No.
Right? It's just, some teams look at Deion, look at his personality, and, a lot of owners and a lot of teams, they are just about football. They're all about football, and Deion's also about football, right? But with Deion, because of the personality he is, it's going to bring a lot of media attention. And the thing is, NFL teams, they do not like the media. I mean, I know, they do certainly, I'm not saying, they hate it, right? But when they can stay out of the media, if they can take away, have less media, they're going to take it.
Especially now in light of what happened with the Giants last year with the
with Hard Knocks. Oh my goodness.
Hard Knocks. I mean, but that's what it feels like with Deion, because Deion also has a great show. Who hasn't watched Coach Prime? Who hasn't watched? So it's good. It's interesting to watch, right? So you don't want that in your locker room necessarily, especially if you're on your way up or if you're a team that's up having a struggle and coming down. It's kind of a thing. I think that's that's probably the main reason why Shedeur fell to the 5th.
Right, and also too, think about it. Also takes away from the team. Right, it's focused on one person, takes away from the team.
That's exactly, and that's what you don't have with the Buccaneers. You don't have players to take away from the team.
Oh yeah, everything is all about the team. They got a really strong culture in Tampa. There's no doubting that. That's why you won the division 4 years in a row.
Oh man, I want to ask you about Jaguars again. Remind me, but Bucks Race Bolt says Trey Palmer is going to get cut from the wide receiver room. I mean, that's very much. It's going to be a numbers game with the Buccaneers at wide receiver.
Yes, Trey Palmer, he was a starter as a rookie and then lost his job to Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan actually really came on late in the year, had 5 or 6 touchdowns there in the final handful of games.
Right.
Became really reliable there. The thing is with Trey Palmer, I mean, he could get cut. I mean, they drafted 2 receivers, so they're going to be competing. They got a lot of young receivers. Tampa has a ton of young receivers they picked up over these past couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And also, they all have very similar skill sets. Yes. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe they just want competition at that spot. Maybe they keep a couple guys, or they keep a lot of guys like that. That can line up inside and outside and move them all around.
Yes.
Right. Have a line up in different spots. It'll be very interesting.
As
very
a head
diverse.
Coach, very averse.
Diverse.
Right. Averse. The best thing you can have is competition every position. Have dogs fighting for that bone, right? And
of course.
And you're going to find and if you have a good overall team chemistry, which the Buccaneers have, the cream was always going to rise to the top.
Yeah. Always.
Christopher Cole says tush push isn't getting by Vita, Watson, and Kansas.
Nope.
Watson.
They are stopping the tush push. Remember
it doesn't work against us, right? We've always been a stop. And the best thing about it is, and your mom will back me up, or anyone out, the oldie Bucks fans out there watch this. And I'm not calling your mom old. I'm calling us better with age. Is it reminds me of the Buccaneers defense, the goal line defense, and it goes back to Dave Logan and Leroy Selman and Richard Batman Wood filling in the middle. I don't expect you to know all these names. You probably heard them once or twice. Mm-hmm. And the Buccaneers were famous at the old Big Sombrero for stopping that goal line stand. And when we stopped the Philadelphia Eagles from that tush push, I think we stopped them because they got a first down inside the 4. They actually had I think 6 tries at it, and I think they may have finally gotten it. But the fact that we're going in there stopping it just shows you the kind of commitment and dedication you get from this Buccaneers team and how they're ready to go through a wall for this team and Coach Bowles.
Exactly, and the thing is, the tush push, it's a skill-based thing. They tried to ban it at the owners' meetings about a month ago or so. And the thing is, if you have the technique and you have the people in place to actually stop it, you can stop it. It's not a play that's actually unbeatable. The success rate for that play since the Eagles implemented it a couple years ago back in 2022,
right?
The success rate has actually gone down every single year. So take that for
Teams
what you will.
Teams are figuring out a way to fill it in. Yeah,
exactly.
100%. And it looked like a rugby scrum, but I'll even pose that when you get a rugby scrum, the guys all come together and lock shoulders ahead of time. So there's no movement, but I also pose that I don't think you're getting a lot of concussions from the tush push. Guys are so close, they're pushing in, but it's a very confined, probably a hurtful play. And there's some shenanigans that go on inside there where we don't see every time.
Oh yeah, getting away with like a hold here or a grab here.
A grab there, yeah.
And the injury thing, I think that's overblown. I don't think I've seen any injuries from the tush push. I can understand why, because I mean you got a bunch of people piling on top of each other.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's close, you know, in a close, confined space. So you're not like talking about getting your head spun around on blocking a wedge on a kickoff.
Yeah, it's not like you're coming downhill 5 yards and just like going wham and just laying your shoulder into somebody. But
and also the fact that Jalen Hurts can what is it, deadlift like 900 pounds doesn't hurt. You guys got legs of steel.
Yeah,
so.
The dude's
He's a beast.
Great beast in the weight room.
Misador, happy birthday, me. Misador, he's part of the crew. In fact, the crew, you got to follow me, and he talks some great bucks. Him and I have a joke. Happy birthday, first of all, me.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And the fact that the Buccaneers don't go out and draft any quarterbacks across the 7 rounds, and not even sure if they brought in any free agents, is that a testament to the fact that they're comfortable? They're very comfortable with with Kyle Trask as a backup to Baker Mayfield.
Oh, probably. I mean, he's been there for a few years, so he knows the system, right? He's familiar, and you know what other needs the Bucs have. I mean, with Baker and Trask, you have no need. You have no need to go at quarterback. You're good.
That's your birthday present, me. I mean, I have a joke about Kyle Trask because when he even just signed the extension, right, to stay as a backup, he's the first clipboard holder to help. Me says thank you, brother. No, thank you. I'm glad I got to see it. Got a chance to wish you happy birthday directly. Misador also says, did you just say that they found a way to fill the hole on the tush push? Oh, wait. No cursing on this show, but that's pretty close.
Yeah. So.
We'll let that one go. Okay, from Rays Bolt's Bucks on YouTube. Rays are looking good. So we'll get back to the draft.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm going to take that off screen because I want to talk to you. Are you, as a Tennessee Titans fan, you're starting to see Liam Cohen there. You see the magic he had with Baker last year. I know a lot of that has to do with the fact that this team's been developed. It's steel strength and steel, right? Yep. It's been through a fire or two. But now Liam's there, and Trevor Lawrence might find an answer. And now they go and they get Travis Hunter.
Yes, Travis Hunter.
Did they start him at wide receiver exclusively the first year and then let him play a little D, or is it the other way around?
So it seems like I think it was confirmed they're gonna start him in the wide receiver room.
Yeah,
right. Start him there because he has a lot of talent at that spot. But make no mistake, like he's gonna play corner. He's going to play wide receiver. He's gonna play both. Right. He's not gonna do every snap. Right, like he did at Colorado, where he was on the field 100% of the time. He's not gonna do that.
Right.
No athlete is durable enough to do that at the NFL level. I just don't believe that. Maybe he can rewrite that and prove me wrong. I'm open to it, right?
Well, Charles Woodson,
Charles Woodson.
He was a Heisman Trophy winner as a receiver or as a safety or cornerback. But even him at the NFL level, when he goes out and plays for Gruden in Vegas, he couldn't play both ways because it's just football today is so you can have packages, but you can't be expected to fill in full time on both sides, even if you have the athleticism to do it.
Right, it's too physically demanding.
Yeah.
But also, Deion did the exact same thing. So
yeah, he did.
Very fitting that that Travis Hunter worked with one of those few two-way players that have actually made it in the NFL with some type of notable, production at that type of spot.
So back to the original question. What's going on there in Jacksonville? They're kind of getting their act together. You were hoping Balky stayed there because Khan didn't know what he was doing. They seem like they've made a few good decisions. As a Titans fan, is that the team that worries you? Is it the Colts or what other team in the division? Or do you guys just come in with your rookie quarterback? And we'll talk about Ward. You come in and just light the world on fire.
Okay, so the AFC South is very interesting. The Texans, they're the favorites to run it back right now, but they're still building, right? They traded away Laramie Tunsil, their offensive lineman, so that's a big question mark. But specifically for Jacksonville, I don't know if I want to say this objectively or sound a little biased when I say this, because as easy as it is to say, analytically, the Jaguars roster is good, right? They needed help at corner and wide receiver. So getting a guy that's in Travis Hunter, that's probably the best in the draft at both positions,
right?
And trading up to get that guy, I get it, right? The thing is, Jacksonville, same thing like with the New York Giants. These are teams that have been perpetually bad for a long time.
Yes.
Right. And, it's kind of hard for me to buy into it until I see it actually happen. But I will admit they have the pieces in place, and Liam Cohen being the head coach, despite everything of how he left Tampa and went to Jacksonville, despite all the, the controversy that happened there. I mean, he's a good offensive line.
Controversy. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
And I don't mean to bring it back to Will Levis.
It hurts a little bit. Will Levis, yeah, what happened with him? I like the mayonnaise commercials, and I'm not making fun of him. I thought he's that cat. He seems like he's got that dog in him. What happened there? Was it just overreach by them, and they had to start anew?
Yeah, so very interesting with Will Levis and in his development. He was a project coming out, but the thing with Liam Cohen, it's kind of to test, as a testament to him and his coaching ability, right? Going back to Jacksonville, the Baker just had a career year.
Yeah.
But the thing was, Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator at Kentucky when Will Levis was there. And,
yes.
And, 2021, Will Levis looked like a first-round pick. He looked really good. So
that's why he went there, yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about Liam Cohen being a good coach. The development of Will Levis in college in Kentucky.
Yes.
Baker Mayfield in his career year also spent a lot of time with the Los Angeles Rams as well. And think about, their success there as well. So Jacksonville's got the right pieces in place.
Right.
It's just a matter of can they actually put it together.
This isn't a Jacksonville Jaguars pod, so I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. You're so knowledgeable. Also, the Travis Hunter pick there in Jacksonville immediately takes a little bit of that pressure off Trevor Lawrence, who was supposed to be the face of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I've made jokes about Trevor. He'd rather do a Head and Shoulders commercial than probably be a leader. It's just because he's a laid back cat, right? But yeah, Travis Hunter brings him in there, and just his phenomenal. He's the way he's a shining star, the way he shines. Takes a little bit of that emphasis off him, although buried a lead with Liam Cohen, you're going to probably start seeing more development out of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to get the most out of Trevor Lawrence, and that's all they talked about is, getting him help, protecting him as well, right? So their entire offseason was to get Trevor Lawrence ready for the season, and Travis Hunter gives them that for sure.
100%, brother. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it. We'll come back to the draft. Anyone has issues about the draft, we'll bring it back, but let's go ahead and talk about these. Wait, where'd it go? He's been taught to color between the lines. Talking about Kyle Trask, I told you, me and Kyle Trask. That's what because he's on the clipboard all the time, so it gives him a chance to practice coloring between the lines.
Exactly, learn about football too. You think about it, being a backup quarterback for the same team for a long time, that's a dream come true. You kidding me?
I'll tell you what, give me $1 million a year to hold a clipboard.
Exactly.
Be ready. And the fact that Kyle Trask going back to Manville High, he's always been the guy next up that's ready to come up. I mean, Philip E. Franks, he did it at Florida. A year behind Tom Brady. He's had a chance to have one pass in the NFL in 6 years. I'm going to come back to this. Let's go and keep on with the comments. We'll talk about the Rays and the Bolts, but Bucks Rays Bolt says guest Matthew not got suspended should pro. Oh, Matthew Tkachuk, right? You watched the Lightning game yesterday?
You were
canoeing.
Yes, I was out canoeing.
Enjoying the Hillsborough River. I can't blame you. I won't doubt you on that. But so the Lightning had a player suspended. I'm just going to paraphrase. Lightning had a player suspended in a game from Thursday night, right?
Okay.
And then so he was suspended yesterday. And then yesterday, Tkachuk had a hit across the middle. Two different types of hit, but people were like, should they suspend him? Should they not? I'm going to go ahead and say Bucks Rays Bolts that no, they shouldn't have. The other one, the one from Thursday night, was we almost left his skates. He got the guy coming downhill, wasn't expecting it. And yesterday, even though the size was a little better, so it may have looked as mean, but it definitely didn't take as much of a hit. And that's what it's about. The suspensions for the hits and the late hits, NFL, NHL, it's all about player safety.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you go back to the Lightning with these hits, it's very interesting because obviously hockey is a very physical sport. So I'm not really sure like how they gauge, when's a hit an illegal hit or when it's, a clean hit because, the rules are not as strict
right
in hockey compared to the NFL. But I mean, think about the Lightning. They just won.
Yeah.
Right. They
finally
won,
got
5-1 too, which is a really
great game.
Really good win,
right.
Down in the Panther Stadium as well. And they're back there for game 4.
Tomorrow night. Yeah. Bring it.
It seems like they're, I would like to guess and assume that they're trying to bring a physical tone. They're trying to punch them in the mouth a little bit. They're trying to show that they got fight. They lost. I think it was Stamkos they lost going into the year.
Well, they traded him, or they traded. Well, they didn't re-sign him, but they brought in a bunch of players to make this team better. But you talked about the physicality, and that's what I kind of thought I was going to see with the game yesterday, because I made a point that going back to Sergei Fedorov and the way this team was built, it was always crisp, like the Detroit Red Wings, like the Russians, crisp on the stick passing. And even though yesterday the Lightning did not back down whatsoever, they stood their ground. They got back to some of that crisp passing, but they weren't passing it too much to let the team go ahead and read into the design of the play. They were just going one pass right on goal or shots on goal looking for a rebound. It was a big deal. They still have a little ways to go with physicality. Maybe we'll see it tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
I'm so excited. Christopher Cole says, Panthers better not let the Lightning win tomorrow. No,
better not.
No, not at all. Let me go ahead. Let's see if we got. I want to talk facts. Cole, go and talking about the facts on that. Bucks Rays Bolt says Cole. If Matthew, I passed over that. Me says Jags' issue is they have a quarterback that can't seem to lead, and that's what I think we talked about a little bit. Kind of the truth. I mean, does a quarterback have to be a leader? I'm trying to think of some other teams where you want to be one of your leaders.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of non-verbal quarterbacks. Daniel Jones. Look at the success he had in New York. I'm kidding. No, other quarterbacks that, maybe didn't go back to Vinny Testaverde back in '87, Bucks #1 overall pick. Of course, he was colorblind, and Mitzi had his attention pretty much from the start. Congratulations to the Testaverdes. They've been married for like 100 years, but he wasn't going to be your leader. He was 7'7", just built like a brick house, and he wasn't going to be your team leader, the identity. And of course, the Bucs didn't really have much success with him there either. I guess that's been a big problem with Trevor Lawrence there in Jacksonville, not being a leader on the team they thought he would be.
Well, being a leader, I don't say he's not a good leader. The thing is, they just haven't had a good team around him for him to really look his best. And the thing is, as a quarterback, everything's your fault. Everything is always your fault.
Yeah.
That's the position. That's just the nature of how the business works.
Yes.
So definitely, like, as someone who follows football, he has no leadership issues. Like, that is not the problem with Trevor Lawrence. It's the fact that on the field, it has not been good enough, nowhere near good enough as to where he was drafted first overall a few years ago. That's the big issue.
He's been scared. I mean, he has been scared. But even, playing under a strong coach at Clemson in college, and the fact that when he comes, he's had what?
Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is a rookie. That's not great.
Wow, that's probably been the biggest problem with him at the pro level now, and the inconsistency. And then Gone in a Minute, and then Doug Peterson, and he hasn't been able to establish a relationship with anyone above him. So he's literally been the top of the heap, and he hasn't had anything around him to be that top.
Exactly. Issues on the field, right? With a lack of talent.
Yeah.
Right. And also last year he got hurt. A bunch of players got hurt as well. So that also does not help. But they have no foundation at coaching whatsoever too. And also with the GM getting fired, they got a lot of off the field issues within their organization that they need to fix.
Musador, he was there live for that Trask pass, and it was atrocious. I think it was at Vegas. I mean, sorry about that, me. He was at Vegas, and he goes to that Raiders game, and he got to see that Kyle Trask pass. Let's talk about these Rays, because they won their 4th game in a row last night. Yep. The Yankees, they're playing at Steinbrenner Field. We talked about this in our little pre-production thing here, talking about the topics of today. But they went on the road after losing 2 of 3 to the Red Sox, and then also losing the series 3 of 4 to the Yankees. And now they won the series in Arizona. And now they've won 2 games in a row at San Diego, going for 3 at 4:45 today down here at the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. I heard you heard TJ Tim stop by here. He said it was electric here yesterday for that Lightning game. Did you hear him?
Oh yeah, I did.
Come down. You're going to come down here for a light. We're going to make sure Coach gives us the full setup, all the wings and the burgers. And I love the fact that they broadcast the game. The DJ broadcasts it live over all the speakers.
Oh, that's cool.
And the best part is every time it goes to commercial, you still got the audio. You can still see it, but then they cut it some kick butt music so you can socialize, talk with some brothers and sisters, have a good time. And then the moment the game comes back, it's literally a thing. The moment the game comes back on, the game audio is back in there. So you're getting the best of both worlds, right? You're getting a song and dance and fun down here at the world famous, but you're also seeing the game and not missing any action.
Yeah, this place sounds really cool. I mean, looking at it right now, the atmosphere, obviously nobody's here right now, but it looks awesome. I can imagine this place absolutely rocking.
Nice breeze too, right? You feel that breeze?
Yeah, it feels great.
It is, right? You smell that food too. It's starting to smell really good.
It's starting to.
I should have made sure Coach would feed us lunch today. Go ahead and let's go ahead and talk about. We talked about the Rays. We talked about the Lightning. Let's get back to the draft. See what this comment is. Wonder it's taking so long. Hockey made this. Okay, I can't read these anymore. They're Bucks, Rays, Bolts. Let's go back. There was one I wanted to get to. Let's go back to this draft again. Not so much Buccaneers. And any other story. Any other story that got your attention, like a team filling a need? What team may have that you all on your radar really hit it out of the ballpark, other than the Titans and the Bucks?
Okay, well, let's go back to the NFC South for the people out here. The Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
First round, they drafted Jalen Walker, the linebacker / edge rusher out of Georgia. Right, kind of a tweener. I thought they got him at great value. I thought he could have gone as high as 8th overall to Carolina.
Yes.
And then he fell to 15, and then they traded back up into the first round to draft James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher out of Tennessee. Here's the thing. These 2 guys have probably more upside than almost any other player in this draft class. That's a fact. You look at the tape, you watch the film, you can see that. And the Falcons, as most Bucs fans, most Falcons know, right? Their pass rush has been terrible. It has been absolutely terrible. So getting 2 talents there will help. And the thing was, the Falcons, they were supposed to win the division last year. Everyone had them winning last year.
Yes.
And the pass rush is what's held them back. So the Falcons probably give the biggest challenge to the Bucs in 2025.
They do.
And it starts with getting a better pass rush, is what they did there in the first round. I think they won the first round objectively there.
I saw it, and I saw Raheem celebrating, and I'm like, look what they're doing. Because they're going after that pressure, which feels like it's like the exact DNA of what Todd Bowles and his Buccaneers defense does, right? To put pressure, and they probably hit on both those players. They still have the Kirk Cousins things. It feels like no team wanted him. As far as in a trade, you're not going to pay somebody $40 million a year and trade for someone and try to come in and learn in camp to be a quarterback. It was crazy, right?
No, I don't know. I don't think anybody's trading for Kirk Cousins anymore. I think now that now that the draft is done. It's been over with. We didn't see any trades. I thought it would have been on draft day if he were to be traded, but no, I think everything's down. We might see a couple movings here, like as we get into the training camp period, right? Off-season programs, but probably not. I mean, and also it's nice keeping him around in the building, to help develop Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
So
if that's a relationship they have, which I think I saw something where he's not he's not doing a Brett Favre on him or something with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh seems like they're just waiting. They're waiting for him to come out. Either he's coming out of, I don't know, he's at a ayahuasca retreat or whatever. There's no way if they're gonna get him there, is it gonna be like a Tom Brady kind of a contract? Does he have to come hat in hand and say, look, instead of the $60 million the Jets paid me, I'll do it for like 28 or $25 million, and I want to make the team stronger? Because I don't see Pittsburgh going out and raiding the farm to give him $50 or $60 million on the off chance they can get 1 year out of him.
Yeah, they're not going to give him that much money. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get anywhere, probably like 1 year, 25, 30 million, maybe a little more, maybe go up to 40.
It feels right. Escalates, right? Playoffs, make the playoffs. We go up a couple mil, take us to the AFC Championship. It goes up $5 million. So you can maybe get them to something cap friendly. But at the end of the day, you're just taking that, you're risking, you're rolling the dice for that shot at the championship.
Yeah, I mean, Steelers, they need a quarterback. I can't believe they did not draft Shedeur Sanders at 21. They drafted Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle out of Oregon, they needed that pick, and I like it, right? But for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, I don't know what they're waiting on. I use an analogy for Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers where it's like the last two people in a bar.
Right.
They're sitting around, they're not really talking, right? Or they kind of are, right? It's kind of a socializing thing, but it's like, are you going to go home together or you're not? Right? Just make it clear cut. There's no reason to wait. The faster you get a quarterback in here, the faster that quarterback's going to adjust to your scheme, learn your offense, get with your teammates, right? There is no benefit to waiting. And at this point, the Steelers they're out of time. They need to get Aaron Rodgers or you're starting Mason Rudolph at quarterback, and you're not going to win a lot of games that way.
I tell you, you're going to have some pressure up the middle on a defensive line, but no, I think that would be, it's a step right back to where they were. Talking about the defensive position, Morrison, the kid we take out of Notre Dame, right? Benjamin Morrison.
Mm-hmm. So Benjamin,
the way that kid cries, the way not cries, but the way he loses it and talking to Jason Light and Todd Bowles, first of all, wasn't that just kind of, the kind of dog you're getting? And it even makes the team, that the guys that are already in the locker room here can't wait to play with this guy, see what he's got.
Exactly. He's a great character, elite football character. I mean, that's exactly what you want. And when you're Tampa, you got a strong culture. Those are the guys that you want. There's no reason to draft a guy with the type of value that they got for the person that he is. I mean, it's a great pick. All around, I think it's a great pick.
100%. I mean, and so I think I kind of side with you. The thing about drafts is you can't grade them really for till 2 years out, right?
Yeah, it takes time.
It takes time. You got to see, did you get the right guys in the locker room? Did you get luck with no injuries? And did you fulfill a need, or did you bring in something? Because, the funny thing is about football, one of the things we love is it could be an undrafted free agent you add 2 weeks from now or grab off someone else's practice squad that makes this entire unit play better overall, which suddenly makes that draft pick have a better, more opportunities to succeed. So all of it goes into the mix, which we love the team sport aspect about it. Got to say the Buccaneers, to me, and this isn't just a homer talking, but the needs and filling it and keeping your high class quality guys that have been parts of great programs. They've still been in the playoffs. I got to give them at least a strong B plus, maybe an A minus in a year from now, if it really put like last year's draft class was.
Yeah, I would say it's about a B draft for now, and with definitely a lot of upside for it to become an A. Right. And we talked about how Jason Light is really good at drafting players.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think I have a lot of hope for Tampa to be good again this year. I mean, there's no reason I have them taking a step back at all.
100%. No, man, I tell you what, let me make sure we got some more comments here. I never have time to do comments when it's just me alone. I always tell people, they're like, what is it like when you're doing your shows out live? We've got a nice little, plus you like the shot here, how we get the beautiful shot of the courtyard there, the dog park here at the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere. It just feels natural. I mean, talking sports in a sports environment makes sense.
Right? Yeah,
it makes sense.
And that's why I love it, because even though it's starting to get a little hot, the humidity's not yet. We're hitting 90 now. You get the breeze coming through here, which I always tell people, if you're going to go somewhere and watch today's Rays game versus the Padres at 4:00, come down here to the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill.
Exactly. Can't go wrong.
And Misador says the Falcons draft was solid. However, what will it cost them going forward? They did give up some draft capital to move back up into the first round. I mean,
they did. They were already, kind of low on change for draft capital anyways.
Yes.
I think they had, what was it, 5 picks?
Right.
I believe. So, I mean, I think they're banking a lot on these two pass rushers being good. But, I mean, you got to bet on upside here. I mean, the Falcons are in win now mode. And while these guys are going to take time to develop. I mean, they have the upside for it to happen. You draft for the future. You don't draft for right now.
100%. Christopher Cole on YouTube, they are not getting by Wirfs and Luke Gedeke.
Nope, they're not.
And in fact, the best part is if they do, then Baker's going to give him a shovel pass or a shake and bake and head up the middle. And
shoot, even if you grab the guy, like in Dallas,
yes,
he's going down, or he's going to throw a ball out to
yes,
running back, or he's going to stiff arm Nick Bosa on 4th down against San Francisco.
Yeah, right. That was one of the best plays, right?
The way insane. It was one of the best plays I saw all year.
Oh, I love it. Christopher Cole also says the Steelers' first-round pick story just breaks my heart. The defensive tackle, even though you should have went quarterback if they were looking quarterback. That is a story, and that's something that you don't see on Mike Tomlin teams so much, and it's also something of not you do, but Cam Hayward can kind of show him the ropes a little.
Yes, well, the reason why it breaks this viewer's heart is because the day after Derek Harmon got drafted, he lost his mother. His mother was in the hospital. She was in a coma.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yes, and she passed away a day after he was drafted.
So drafted Friday then, if she passed.
Yes.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know, it's so sad, and I know a lot of people are mourning. My thoughts and my prayers are personally with Derek Harmon and his family.
Yes.
But I mean, I feel like more people in a time of grieving, talk about how proud her mom is looking down on her son right now, making his dreams come true. That's what you need to be talking about.
Yes.
Because I mean, she was there for him his entire life, being a support, and she's now getting to see him make his dreams come true. I mean, that's awesome as a parent.
It reminds me of the Gerald McCoy, 2011. We drafted him at number 3, right behind Ndamukong and Suh. It's a long story. We'll get into another time.
Mm-hmm.
But he cried the day he was drafted. Cried in the green room, and he even said after the fact it was because his mom, who'd always been his, she was his hero. She was his hero, and she's the one that told him, "You're going to be a 5-star athlete. You're going to you're in college in the scholarship. You're going to be a first-round pick." And it comes true, and the Bucs draft him there, and he cried too. So. That's a great thing to see that the heart and the soul of these players, that they wear them on a sleeve just like you and me, because we're all just human beings.
Yeah, we're all just human beings, and you got to have good parents. I mean, coming from me, I got a great mother, so I mean,
you do, boy.
I can understand.
I can tell you times that she saved my butt back in high school. She was always so organized. She was always, if you wanted to know something, you went to Penny. You did. I mean, because Penny, she was always in the know, but she took care of business. She doesn't think things out. I mean, she'll think things out, but something comes down, fight or flight. She's fight.
Yeah, like she's a great planner, but like if push comes to shove, I mean, if she needs to like pivot real quick, she can pivot.
She pivots.
She can pivot. Like
that's a great way to say it. No, it's 100% true. I love it. So we are coming up on an hour. We're gonna keep it an hour today unless we get some more comments here. Tell me something that's on your radar, Garrett. Something, of course, Garrett Shoemake from the Shoemake Take. If you follow him on YouTube, give me something else about draft, baseball, football, anything about Tampa Bay. Something you want to talk about? Something that's in your mind right now?
My whole thing is like for the Rays with their stadium.
Okay.
I am just so curious as to what they're going to do in 2026. Because right now they're playing in the Yankees minor league stadium, right? Which, obviously the Yankees are a big rival of the Rays, so that's already not great.
Right.
Admittedly. But it's like,
admittedly, yes.
But like, what's the plan? I mean, I haven't heard anything about like what they're going to do. Obviously the whole stadium thing dropped out, right? And people are upset about it, rightfully so.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do. The thing with the Rays, I mean, it's all about the future for them more than it is about the season, in my opinion.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it's very uncertain. And, I mean, it's as uncertain sports as it gets.
And I'll tell you what, so they've got all the measurements, right? From the steel girders there, the top of the trough, that didn't change, move, didn't get damaged whatsoever by the storm, right? It was just the tent tarps or the coverings. Mm-hmm. So they already had the size measurements. So they could have ordered a new roof 5 years ago, and theoretically they already had the sizes, right? They still had to check the infrastructure and the foundation,
right?
But so right now the roof is getting worked on. It's somewhere. It's supposedly someone said it's like being made in Russia and has to be shipped through China, so it's getting 72 tariffs. It's going to cost 5 times whatever.
Yep.
But I will be honest, it's like a political thing, because if you you and I walk across the street there right now after the show, you'll see that there's still those 2 little 18-wheeler. There's no trucks, but the cabs for the destruction, the units that came in and probably put the visqueen and closed it all off.
Yeah.
There's really nothing more they can do from a repair standpoint until the roof is on. You can't replace anything. You can't paint. You can't get a scoreboard. You can't do any of that, right?
Yeah, the roof has to come first.
And it just feels like there's nothing going on over there. And then, of course, this week the St. Pete City Council, they were workshopping an idea to what they might want to do with the Al Lang Field down on the waterfront. Of course, that waterfront field, Mayor Al Lang in 1910 started reaching out to baseball, and by 1918 would get Major League Baseball to come here and train, and that field is in his honor, named in his honor. You'd like to think that the redevelopment of the waterfront's always going to include that field, but the Rowdies play there. The Rowdies are also controlled or owned by the Rays, right?
Yeah.
So you got a Rays team that's got to come back here contractually to play for 2 more years through 2028. It's extended a year because they're spending a year in Tampa.
Yep.
The Rowdies don't have that same contract. The Rowdies contract's up this year. And of course, now they're talking about wanting to make an entire arts down by the waterfront. And growing up here, you know how nice it is to go down the waterfront, to walk around down
beautiful.
there by the Big Dolly and the Mahaffey and stuff like that.
Yeah. And even down there, like just down the road that way down to USF St. Pete.
Yes.
You know, I had to go down there for college in my last semester. I mean, it's just it's so beautiful getting down there by the water, enjoying the nice weather.
Yes. Well, you breathe easy, right? And so, I mean, there's so much politics going on here. And you're right, but you encapsulate it so well by saying it's all about the Rays' future, even though we're happy they're for it. Right? I felt it coming too. I should have stopped. I should have just shut my mouth. But they've won 4 in a row, and we're like, let's go. Let's win this. Let's sweep this series. I hope we see a broom somewhere there at Petco Park today. Some Rays fan brings a little broom out there. But at the end of the day for the Rays, it is about the future. And we're kind of hoping it just gets solved here, because there's a few communities out there, if they can convince their citizens to build a stadium, they would like Major League Baseball. So we want to keep the Rays here in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I want the Rays to stay here too. I mean, they've been here for a long time. And the thing is, with all the stuff going on with the stadium and their future being uncertain, I will say this is, as important as it is to be known about it and to be in the know, it is out of our control. So it is important just right now as fans. I think right now it's okay. Let's just focus on the Rays. Let's focus on how they're doing, right?
Yes.
Root for them to win, right? And here's the thing too. You might want them to win because if they are a good baseball team, that will help them. That will help influence, to keep their team here.
Locals, people get involved, get a stadium deal done. Hillsborough, Pinellas, whatever. Let's just get it done. It's a losing baseball team would be a lot harder to get that ask, wouldn't it?
Right, to get it out. I mean, I'll just, for people that follow basketball, I'll just mention it. With the Luka Doncic trade from the Mavericks to the Lakers, I mean, their team is, despite the fact that they were in the playoffs, they made the play-in tournament. But,
playoffs.
I mean, playoffs.
Wow.
It's not technically playoffs. It's just like this.
Well, no, but I mean, no, I'm not questioning.
No, you're good.
Someone says playoffs, I got a tick.
I know. It's just like the playoffs. I mean, the play-in tournament, I don't agree with the play-in tournament. That's a different conversation. But, think about it. That there's a conspiracy theory with the Mavericks because they, traded away Luka Doncic.
Yes.
And their players, they got so injured to the point where they almost had to forfeit games.
Literally, yes.
So it's like, the theory is like, okay, they're trying to take the team so bad and move it to Vegas, right?
Ooh.
Las Vegas now has 3 out of 4 major sports teams now. They got football, hockey, baseball,
and they got
basketball.
Money.
Yeah, they got a whole lot of money. So I mean, that's a good conspiracy, but I mean, having a bad sports team is just not good for the city, especially right now with the Braves Stadium. I mean, they need to be good.
And that explains the reason why the general manager for the Mavericks is like, we traded Luka because it was a better deal. He didn't play defense. He was out of shape. And the fact of the matter is, he was a franchise, and he was international stud.
Exactly. I mean, he was the face of that franchise, and you don't trade that player. You don't trade that player ever.
We didn't talk about NBA here today. We will next time. I hope you'll join me again.
Oh, I would love to.
But who's your NBA team? Don't say Lakers.
I'm not saying Lakers.
Okay,
I'm not a Lakers fan. The thing is, like, if I had to say I'm a fan of any team, probably it's the Magic because, they're the Florida team, right? And also I'm a big fan of Paolo Banchero, their best player.
He's a good guy. He's a good classy act, too.
Yes,
class act.
Very much is so. And, the Magic have always been like that underdog team, especially recently where they've kind of just barely made it into the playoffs. But, I mean, they have good role players. It's just they don't have enough top-end talent to really, they're not like the Lakers. They're not like, what's another team? Like the Boston Celtics. For example, right?
The Celtics beat them in the first round, didn't they? Or are they Magic still in it against them?
Yes, they the Magic won Game 3. They're currently down
1-2-1.
Yeah.
So they won a game. It must have been at Boston. No, it was at Orlando, wasn't it? I'll bet.
Maybe
I don't know because I'm thinking Boston would have had the home court, right? So they would have played the first 2. I'll put you on the spot here. Is the first round a best of 5?
It's best of 7.
Oh,
just like hockey and baseball.
Okay, because I said going in. I started watching after March Madness this year, which was fantastic. So we'll talk about that again sometime.
Yeah, sure.
I see you want to, but we'll. I said I'm going to start following basketball, so I finally watched a full game when Luka was back with LeBron, and then I started watching the Knicks. And I'm like, when the Magic make the playoffs, I'm like, playoffs. Sorry, I got to do it. So when they make the playoffs, I'm like, I'm going to watch them, but they're playing against the Celtics. To know that they're only down 2-1 and they got a shot, if they can even this series up, I mean, that's a big ask, but that would be exciting for Orlando Magic fans.
Oh yeah, because after they beat the Atlanta Hawks,
yes,
I think it was in the play-in tournament. The fans were chanting, "We want Boston," and it's like, no, you don't. You don't want Boston, but I wish you the best of luck.
Yes,
I wish you the best of
luck. You got some guys. Got some shy. I think guys can shoot threes on that team. I mean, like anybody else. So maybe I don't think they got the defense inside to stop Boston inside. But I mean, it's become a 3-point league. It really has in some respects.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
For worse, right?
Oh yeah, that's a topic we'll probably have to talk about it later.
We'll talk about that.
Deep. It's a very deep topic about like how the game has evolved. Because a lot of it's technology, which is, why I'm so scared with the NFL doing what it's doing.
Or baseball with going robotic umps. I mean, all the things we're talking about. Yeah.
Right. You don't want to take away the human element from sports. That's kind of like my whole take on it.
I love it.
And when you lose that, I mean, it's just like everything else. Everything's just becoming automated and very just lifeless.
That's a teaser for our next show, brother. By the way, it's been great having you, Garrett. Thank you so much. Garrett Shoemake from the Shoemake Take. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
No, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed my first time doing this live. This is actually pretty fun.
It's fun. It's easy. Wait till you join Peter and we get into all the cast and character of the sports web. Wait till you see how much fun we have. And we usually get fed wherever we are. And we have a great time. And
Sounds
how
like
old are you?
I am 22. I'll be 23 in less than a month.
Do you drink beer?
Yes, I have. I don't really like beer. I like, just mixed drinks and stuff. I know it's.
No, well, you went to USF, you got class, but I want to make sure we're always looking for a designated driver. So we'll have to talk to you, brother.
Oh yeah, I don't mind being DD. I mean, I'm all about responsibility when it comes to alcohol. So, I don't drink it that much anyway. So,
well, neither do I. That's a lie. Thanks for joining us here for a cup of Ray, and not more than the average bear. Cup of Ray down here at the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, after 4 today, the Rays, Padres going for the sweep. Bring your brooms down here. You're not going to have to sweep because the place is spotless. The crew's got the place ready to go for today's game. But like you heard, I said TJ Tim McNew actually already covered yesterday was banging for the Lightning. Every game, every Rays game is a home game down here at the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. And you all know how I end every one of these. Everyone needs someone cares. Everyone needs to know that someone cares. Reach out today and let them know. Have a great time, and thanks for joining us here. Again, Garrett Shoemake from the Shoemake Take and myself here on Cup of Ray.
So long.